few things that I wanted to talk about, guys, as we inch closer to UFC 314. In one of my favorite cities in the world, Miami, what a scene and what a card they are bringing to Miami. They've done a great job of bringing big-time cards to Miami. You know, they went like, what was it, 15, 16 years without doing a single show in Miami, and now it's become a staple. March, April, they're always doing cards around this time. We talked about the poster yesterday. There it is. Not as good as the Montreal one, although it does seem like it's the same type of format with the 4-box. I don't know if that's a new thing. Anyway, saw an interview yesterday with Paddy Pimblett. He was talking to the Nelk boys, and he was talking about Arman Tsarukyan, who's become somewhat of the forgotten man, weirdly enough, going from the number one contender 24 hours away from fighting for the belt. Of course, we know what happened in January as he was getting ready to fight. Islam had to withdraw. Paddy took a bit of a shot at him. And then Arman this morning responding to Paddy Pimblett via social media saying, says the guy who got the easiest path to the top in the UFC just because he's got a funny accent and budget Beatles haircut. I dare you to call me out if you win, and we will see who will shit his pants in the octagon when we meet clown Paddy the Baddy. The shit his pants line is in reference to Paddy saying that essentially Arman shit his pants and didn't want to fight Islam. In response to that, we had Mateusz Gamrot, who knows a thing or two about Arman, quote tweeting it saying, "Stop looking for easy fights, especially with a clown." Man, Paddy catching a stray here. "Without ambition, you will never be a champion. You got a chance to revenge, so accept it." So Mateusz insinuating that there's an offer on the table to fight Arman Tsarukyan. And I do believe there is some truth to that. Guys, are you buying or selling the idea of Arman versus Mateusz 2? Does this interest you? Arman Tsarukyan going from 24 hours away from fighting for the belt, and a lot of people thought he had a nice, solid chance against Islam, considering what happened in their first fight many moons ago, and considering the fact that Arman took that fight on short notice and went the distance with him. Or do you think that Arman deserves better? What do you say, PT?
I mean, yeah, I can see where Arman's coming from here. He'd probably be a bit pissed off, you know, so close to that title. And it does feel as though he's been completely removed from the title conversation. Especially with Gamrot coming off a loss to Hooker, I feel like that's going to be... He's going to take some disrespect from that, right? Like, he's going to be like, right, so you're going to allow this guy to try and rebuild his own title aspirations off me. It's not exactly a hot fighter, a guy who people are like, when are we going to see Gamrot next? It's a tough situation, and I think obviously Paddy saying this about him will hurt even more because, and look, he's saying it like, you know, you get the easiest path, but this is what happens when you're a guy that is polarizing, that is captivating, and that can do to an arena what he did in Manchester in July at 304. You know, that is rare. That is an X factor that a lot of people don't have in the UFC. We constantly talk about the need for stars, you know, the lack thereof. And Paddy could potentially be one of those guys. And when you're one of those guys, things happen for you a lot quicker. So imagine he's very annoyed with that kind of offer. But really, what can he do? Because they really haven't bent over a barrel here. He just needs to compete and try to get back in that title conversation.
Go ahead.
I agree with Pete that he's in a bad spot. But if I'm Danny Rubenstein, if I'm managing, like, I do not take any fight unless I'm assured that it moves me back into the number one contender spot, that it moves me next for the title. I can't, I know you don't have many options, right? Because obviously Dana White is pissed off, and you don't, you know, when that happens, like, you can put yourself in a bad spot. But as we've said before, taking fights and then putting yourself potentially on the sideline, let's say you fight, you get hurt, whatever it is, if you were just waiting and standing by and an opportunity arose that the other guys weren't ready to take, I think that cooler heads will prevail and you could potentially end up with that opportunity. So I think you have to be cautious and not just take any fight against anybody, because there's also no guarantee that puts you back in good standing. You beat a Mateusz Gamrot, they don't maybe go, all's forgiven. You know, you beat Gamrot, all's forgiven. You have to have some kind of assurance from the UFC before you make any next move. And if they tell you beat Gamrot, you're back in that spot, take on Gamrot, no problem.
But you know what? Like, GC, this makes me nervous for Ilia. You know why? Because I feel like if they're offering Arman Mateusz, Arman to me should be fighting Charles Oliveira. And if they're offering Armin Mateus, that means Charles is getting Ilia, and then what happens to Islam? To me, it should be look at the rankings. It should be Armin versus Charles. It's right there. And it should be Islam versus Ilia.
At worst, Gaethje.
Yeah.
Like, Armin should not be fighting Mateusz Gamrot, and why would he really want to? You mentioned Forgotten Son feels like Armin. The Forgotten Son really feels like Mateusz Gamrot. It feels like he's always trying to work his way into these fights. He can never get them. He's 24-3. He's number 8 in the division. No one ever talks about him. So I just don't see why Armin would have any interest in doing that, unless, to Rick's point, he was guaranteed a title shot off of it, and I can't imagine that would be the case when you have guys like Gaethje waiting in the wings, Charles waiting in the wings, whatever's going to happen with Ilia. I would not advise that.
Is it possible Charles and Islam are what they're targeting? Does it have to be Charles versus Ilia?
Sure, but either way,
priority.
Ilia's getting the shaft.
No doubt. No matter
Ilia
what,
should be fighting for the belt next. I'm sorry.
I agree with you.
He was the featherweight champion. He gave up the belt. He should not have to work his way back up. That's what happens. I mean, I know he didn't hold the belt for as long as Alex did, but he beat two of the greatest at 145 pounds convincingly. So convincingly. Like they've never been beaten before. I know Alex was coming off the loss to Islam, but you get what I'm saying. At 145,
he did what Conor did.
Yeah.
He came in and blew the doors off the guys.
About all of this heading into Saturday.
He's an undefeated champion who is also a star moving up a division. I think he should fight for the belt as well.
Not for nothing, lads. It's a nightmare fight for Tsarukyan. I know he's won before against Gamrot, but Gamrot's so hard to look good against. This guy is so decorated. Like I think he won the ADCC.
No.
He's a brilliant.
Gamrot won that fight.
That's what he said.
Excuse me, sorry.
Oh
yeah. But that's what I mean. It's a, even if you were to say, right, Rick, in the situation, the stipulation you put forward, like you will get a title shot off this win. If you don't go in and set the world on fire, like, UFC could retract a situation like that. Like they're not going to, if it's very hard to look good against Gamrot. As GC just corrected me, he's lost to him before. I think it's a very, very tough way to put yourself in the title mix by beating a guy that nobody is talking about, as GC said.
To play devil's advocate, though, is Charles Oliveira or Justin Gaethje not a tougher fight? Are those not guys you would consider? To me, that feels just as risky, if not riskier. I do not want to fight Charles Oliveira. And this is why if I was Ilia Topuria, I would not want to fight Charles Oliveira. That's a hefty job to get done to guarantee yourself a shot at Islam Makhachev. If I was Armin Tsarukyan, I would not want to take another opportunity against Charles Oliveira. I would rather fight Gamrot.
Oh, against Charles.
I don't know if you'd want to fight Gamrot because it's probably going to be super close. It's probably going to come down to the wire, and you might lose again. And if you lose to Gamrot, then you're out of the title picture.
This may just be my own feelings on it.
I'm with GC on this.
I feel that Armin is significantly better than the
2022 matchup.
When he fought Gamrot.
But he needs that high-profile win. He was right there, and it seems like he's being punished, to be honest. And
he's clearly being punished. He's not getting a title shot.
This is, but it's one thing to say like, all right, we're not giving you a title shot. You have to fight Charles. It's another to say you have to fight the 8th ranked guy. God, and I'm not trying to hate on Gamrot, but Gamrot is coming off a loss to Dan Hooker almost a year ago. Well, not almost a year ago, but August of last year. So it's not like he's on like a 7-fight winning streak or anything like that. He's not on the same type of role that Armin was on against top level competition. Armin beat Charles Oliveira at 300.
I think that Armin can have more of an impressive performance against Gamrot than he can against Charles. We saw the Charles fight. I think it goes pretty similarly, but I also think there's a world where Charles can win that fight. I think against Gamrot, you get an opportunity. Now, granted, to Pizzi's point, even if they say to you, hey, all's good, don't worry about it, you get the win. That expiration date is the moment that it left their mouth, and then it doesn't apply anymore. They could just lose that. But I think he has an opportunity to go out there and finish a Gamrot and really look impressive, and then you go, Armin Tsarukyan is back. I don't think it's that much of a bad thing, but I would need that assurance. I would need you to tell me all's forgiven for this pullout. Let me move on with my career. I want to be next. And if that's the case, I would fight Gamrot.
Here's the flip side. Patty wins on Saturday. Does he call out Armin?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Well, that's the fight. If you're Armin,
you
want that fight.
No. Does Patty call out Armin?
Yeah.
Why not?
If you're Patty, you want the Armin fight.
Fastest track to the title.
He would be jumping up to 7. Like who else would he be fighting? He's not going to fight Poirier. He's not going to fight Holloway.
Charles a better matchup
if-
for him.
Charles.
If Paddy wins, that's like it's perfect. Like that is a great situation for
Paddy
both guys,
versus
I feel
Armin
like.
isn't a great matchup for Paddy. Paddy versus Charles a way better matchup for him, and Charles a bigger name.
If I'm Charles, do I want to wait around for Paddy's next fight though?
Probably not. But I'm just saying.
Charles,
do you
Charles
guys
thinks he's getting a title fight. Charles thinks he's getting
might get a title fight
or maybe, by the way,
or number one contender.
is it? This is all coming to me now. Is it possible?
What a conundrum.
Are they
Paddy
saving
versus Ilia?
Are they saving Ilya
Paddy
for Paddy?
versus
For
Ilia?
fuck's sake!
I said this months ago, by the way.
No.
What?
Okay, but if
this
you're
happens, play
Ilia,
it back.
if
Hand
you're
sanitizer boy.
Ilya, that is rough.
No, but that means Ilya's not fighting for almost a year. His
Yeah,
last
that's-
fight was in October. Here's the thing: if you're Paddy, okay, not if you're Paddy. Who do you guys think Paddy will call out if he wins? You think he's calling out Armin? I don't think he's calling.
Armin
out
one is right there. You just shit talked him like to insane levels on a podcast, and then got into a Twitter back and forth. With
It will
him.
go more viral if you call out Ilya.
He's
It will
calling
go
out Ilya.
way more
or Charles.
Yeah, hand
Or
sanitizer
Or
boy.
Charles.
He's got options,
Except-
man.
but
He's
he-
got
He
options.
could do multiple. He could do multiple. Let's be
He
honest.
doesn't
Paddy.
need to-
He could call out multiple.
List them
dudes
off.
here.
List
He
all
doesn't
three of them off.
He doesn't need to call out the person that he's actually going to ultimately end up fighting because he carries name value. He'll end up with a fight with one of them. He doesn't really need to be that surgical, right? It doesn't need to be
That's
this
right.
like perfect call out. Ilya's the name. Ilya's the name you
Yeah.
throw out there because even if you don't get it, you're saying, "Oh, I'm not scared of you. I'm still game. Come show up, hand sanitizer boy." Ilya's
I'll
the
tell you
name.
Yeah, I'll tell you who he won't call out. Mateus Gamrot.
He's definitely not
Exactly
calling
right.
out Gamrot, especially if he
Forgot,
moves
man.
up above in the rankings
There's
by
no
beating
way.
Gamrot.
That's
No
what
one's
makes this
calling out
card so
Gamrot.
good. There's so many big names, and there's a lot of questions about what these people are going to do next. Thanks for watching this video. Before you go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, give us a thumbs up, leave a nice comment. These things go a long way. And while you're here, do check out the rest of the channel. We've got live shows and full interviews, clips, and a whole lot more. We're doing big things here, and we appreciate your support very much.